It's a religion founded on peace, but forged by self-defense, resilience and defiance. Sikhism emerged as a thriving martial culture and now has 27 million followers worldwide. Its origins are now the subject of an extraordinary new book that documents Sikhism through a series of images. In a moment, I'm going to be speaking to the author. But first, just how did Sikhism originate? Sikhism originated in the Punjab area of modern-day India and Pakistan in the year 1500, making it one of the world's newest religions. The movement was started as a counterpoint to Hinduism and Islam by Guru Nanak, who travelled villages teaching his new faith, founded on peacefulness. Over time, Sikhs became more and more militarised to defend themselves. After the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb forced people to follow Islam in the late 17th century, the 10th Guru recreated Sikhs as an elite military group. Over the next century, Sikhs rose up time and time again under military leaders, taking more and more territory. And while Sikhs nowadays are not militarised, baptised Sikhs are still allowed to carry ceremonial swords. With me here in the studio is Parmjit Singh, who is the author of Warrior Saints, 4 Centuries of Sikh Military History. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I had such an interesting time this morning reading your book and reading all about this, because the reputation of Sikhs as warriors has always sort of been there. What I didn't realise is this peaceful background to it all. How did such a peaceful religion then encourage and help, you know, these military men flourish?
Well, the peaceful side all begins with Guru Nanak. He was a 16th century mystic born in Lahore, which is now in Pakistan, but part of the Punjab region. And at the time he was born, the Muslim and Hindu civilizations were at loggerheads. You know, there was religious strife, there was always this conflict, and there's nothing sort of changed since then, really. But back then he wanted to bridge the two communities and say, look, we need to understand that there's a unity of humanity, that in essence we're all part of the same one. And he undertook that 4 odysseys, if you like, across Asia to spread that message of peace and unity. He went from as far down south of the subcontinent, from Sri Lanka up to Tibet and across to the Middle East. And he faced the challenges he had on the way with humility, with compassion, to try and bring people together. Now, that message was passed down through Sikhs around Asia, and also through spiritual successors. And the 5th Sikh Guru, Guru Arjan, he faced persecution by the Mughal Emperor Jahangir in 1606. And it was really that time, and this is for political and doctrinal reasons, really that time that as the famous 17th century scholar said, by Guru Das, the Sikhs had to protect the orchard by hedging it with thorny trees. The orchard being the message and the thorny trees being the warriors.
And is it that need to protect that has made them such fierce warriors?
Well, I mean, if you're going to protect what you love, I mean, a parent will protect their child and go to any length to do that. And for Sikhs, the message is so important to them that they went to the extremes, and it was really, initially it began as a standing army, but then it developed into a people's army.
But often when I think of Sikh warriors, I think of them fighting during World War I. I mean, this was nothing to do with them. What were they doing there then?
Well, I mean, World War I is really when the Sikhs become part of the British Empire. And so, if you go back, the original message, the martyrdoms that take place, the Sikhs then strike out for kingship. They're basically saying the Mughals are invaders, we have to push them back and give the masses kingship, let them rule themselves, the people of the land should rule. They then managed to defend, close the borders of Punjab. You know, Afghanistan was right on there. The Khyber Pass was the gateway into India. And for the first time in 7 centuries, the Sikhs blocked Afghan invasions, first time since Alexander the Great. Then they developed and flourished into an independent empire. And it was after the death of the great one-eyed king of Lahore, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, that the Sikhs then fell into a period of civil war, and then they went to war with the British. And the British defeated them in 2 wars, and that's when they very quickly integrated the Sikhs into their armies.
I have to quickly ask you, as a British Sikh, is this a tradition that has been celebrated here?
The warrior tradition is, it's interesting because nearly every Sikh family has a military connection through the British Empire. My grandfather fought in Burma, another great-grandfather fought in the Boxer Rebellion in China, for example. And I think that's across the board in most Sikh families. But the key thing we're looking at in the book is the change in tradition. With the coming of the British Empire, the original traditions sort of were brought to an end, if you like. And with the British coming in, they had to quickly suppress anyone who was anti-British Empire and enroll the rest, the loyal people, into their armies.
But do young Sikh men walk around now with daggers on their person? Have you got one under there anywhere?
I'm wearing a dagger. It's one of the 5K's obligatory items, and by British law we're allowed, just like Scots, in their national dress.
Are you able to show us, or is it not? No, I see. Okay, no, please don't.
It's undercover. But just like Scots, dressed in their traditional dress, allowed to carry dirks. Same with the Sikhs. Concessions were made, but the original warrior tradition doesn't really exist in the UK. And there's some people who are very interested in learning more about it in terms of self-identity.
Amjit Singh, thank you very much for joining us. A fascinating book. Thank you.
Thank you very much.